It was a crisp, cold morning on the cobbles of Weatherfield, but the heat inside Underworld was undeniable. Carla Connor, the powerhouse behind the factory, stood tall as usual, her sharp eyes scanning the room, making sure everything was running smoothly. As always, the weight of the business was on her shoulders, but there was something different in the air today, something lighter. She had plans. Big ones. Over the past few weeks, Carla had felt a sense of peace she hadn't experienced in years, a calm that had come from love, from the new, but increasingly real, connection with Lisa Swain. Lisa, quiet and serious yet always there when Carla needed her, had become something more than just a colleague. They were something more. In a town like Weatherfield, where drama was never in short supply, the idea of two women finding love and stability together felt like both a breath of fresh air and a challenge. The couple had made their relationship official not long ago, though they'd kept it mostly under wraps. Carla wasn't someone who enjoyed the spotlight on her private life, but something about Lisa made her want to take the risk. Now, though, Carla was ready to make things public, to stand beside Lisa, and show the world that they were something special. Today was the day. "Lisa, can you come to my office for a moment?" Carla's voice rang out through the factory floor, cutting through the chatter. Lisa looked up from her desk, her brow furrowed. "Everything all right?" she asked as she stood, walking toward Carla's office. Carla gave her a warm smile, motioning for her to sit down. "I've been thinking," she began, her voice surprisingly soft. "I think it's time we tell the team. I'm tired of hiding it." Lisa's face flushed, her heart racing. She'd always been cautious when it came to her personal life, and the thought of being open about her relationship with Carla in such a public way was intimidating. But Carla was right. Their relationship had reached a point where it couldn't stay hidden any longer. "Are you sure?" Lisa asked, her voice trembling slightly. Carla reached out, taking Lisa's hand gently in hers. "I'm sure. We've been through so much already, and I want everyone to know that we're together, that we're happy." Before Lisa could respond, the door swung open and Betsy Swain, Lisa's daughter, burst into the room. "Well, well, well," she said with a smirk. "Look who's finally letting everyone know about the factory boss and her girlfriend." Carla's face tightened, though she tried to remain composed. "Betsy, not now," she said, her tone sharp. But Betsy wasn't done. "Oh, come on, Mum," Betsy continued, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "It's not like everyone hasn't been whispering about it for weeks. Can't say I didn't see this one coming." Lisa winced at her daughter's words. She loved her daughter, but Betsy was always quick to make a joke of serious matters. Carla, however, didn't take the comment to heart. "We're going to tell the staff at lunch," she said firmly. "And if you have something to say, you can say it then." Betsy rolled her eyes but nodded. "Whatever you say, Mum." The moment Betsy left the room, Lisa turned to Carla, her face filled with concern. "Do you think this is a good idea? I mean, Betsy's reaction." Carla smiled softly, pulling Lisa close. "Betsy is just being Betsy. We can't let her comment ruin what we have. We'll deal with it." As the lunch hour approached, Carla's nerves began to set in. She had always been in control of her business, her life, her emotions, but this was different. This was personal. Her heart raced as she stood in front of the staff, her hands gripping the podium. "All right, everyone," Carla began, her voice steady but with an edge of excitement. "I've got something important to share." She paused for a moment, making sure she had their full attention. "I'm seeing someone, and I think it's time you all knew." The factory workers exchanged glances, murmuring amongst themselves. Some looked shocked, others seemed more intrigued. But it was Lisa's face that Carla focused on. Lisa, standing just off to the side, looked at Carla with a mixture of surprise and admiration. Carla took a deep breath, then smiled at Lisa, who stood with her arms crossed but with a proud glint in her eyes. "This is Lisa Swain," Carla continued, "and I'm proud to say we're together." A silence fell over the room before it was broken by one of the workers, who nodded approvingly. "Well, good on you, Carla," he said, his voice warm. "Glad to see you happy." The others followed suit, offering supportive smiles and congratulations. For Carla, it felt like a weight lifted off her shoulders. The world hadn't come crashing down. In fact, it felt freeing. Later that day, after the factory closed for the evening, Carla and Lisa stood in Carla's flat, enjoying a quiet dinner together. It was the calm before the storm, the stillness before the world came to understand what they meant to each other. But just as they were settling in, the peace was shattered by an unexpected noise. A loud crack echoed through the flat, followed by the sound of rushing water. "What the hell?" Carla jumped up, her heart pounding in her chest. They rushed into the kitchen, only to find that a pipe had burst, flooding the floor with water. Panic set in as Carla grabbed her phone, calling a plumber, but it was clear that the damage was done. "Great. Just what we needed," Carla muttered, frustrated. Lisa, ever the pragmatist, grabbed towels, trying to mop up the mess. "It's not the end of the world," she said, her voice calm, but with a hint of concern. Carla turned to her. "We'll get it sorted, but until then, you two should stay here. It's the least I can do." Lisa hesitated, but when she saw the look in Carla's eyes, she nodded. "All right, but only for tonight." As the night wore on, the tension from the burst pipe faded, replaced by the warmth of being together. Carla made a quiet decision as she sat beside Lisa on the couch, her hand gently resting on Lisa's. She knew what she wanted. She wanted this to last. She wanted them to last. As midnight neared on New Year's Eve, Carla and Lisa found themselves at the Rovers, surrounded by friends, family, and a handful of curious onlookers. It was a celebration, but for Carla, there was something more important than the fireworks or the drinks. She had something to say, and tonight was the night. She turned to Lisa, who stood beside her, their hands intertwined. The crowd had begun the countdown, but Carla's focus was solely on the woman beside her. "I love you," Carla whispered, her voice full of emotion. Lisa's eyes softened. She had always been hesitant, always unsure of what the future would hold. But in that moment she knew. She leaned in, her lips brushing Carla's ear as she whispered back, "I love you too." But just as the clock struck midnight, everything changed. Carla stumbled, clutching her chest, a sharp pain shooting through her body. "Carla?" Lisa gasped, panic flooding her voice. Before Carla could respond, she collapsed into Lisa's arms, and everything went dark.